So you were incredibly right to be skeptical of X-Men 97 because just days before, heck, what is it, today, at least for the Hollywood people, they get to see X-Men 97 and the day before they fire their showrunner. Now, there is no scenario that you could spin this as a win. This is clearly, they're trying to distance themselves. This is Disney Marvel trying to distance themselves from somebody that they were so happy, that they were super happy to have as the face of their brand new X-Men project. They were going to have this gay black guy up there. Oh my God, it's going to be so great. We're going to have this inclusive X-Men project. It's fronted by somebody whose mutable characteristics and sexual preferences. It's going to paint the entirety of a legacy project, and that's just so wonderful for everybody. And then for everybody fawning over that trailer that I thought, yeah, it's kind of decent. Then you dig into it a little bit and then you go, yeah, there's quite a few red flags on that one. So you were right to point those out, 1000%. And now that we have this additional information, yeah, anybody thinking that X-Men 97 is going to be good or faithful at the very least to the original cartoon from the 90s rather, yeah, man, I wouldn't even put money that this is going to be good coming out. So, Marvel shocker, X-Men 97 creator Beau DeMayo fired weeks before the premiere. In an unusual situation, on the eve of the project's debut, the writer-producer who worked on Moon Knight, Garbage, and Blade, which iteration of the script are we talking about when it comes to Blade? Okay, will no longer be promoting the show or moving forward with future seasons. Oh. Earlier this month, Beau DeMayo was in the midst of a particularly busy time at Marvel Studios. Writer-producer was preparing for the launch of X-Men 97, the Disney Plus series. Hey, he created as a continuation of the beloved 90s Fox Kids show, so he was doing, derivative dirty work off of the backs of real geniuses from the 90s. DeMayo, a Marvel regular, which I wouldn't necessarily put at the top of my resume, but okay, who previously wrote on live-action series Moon Knight, who watched that first and foremost? Okay, nobody? Okay, who even remembers that there was a Moon Knight series? Even fewer people. Fantastic. As well as early drafts that the company's delayed but still upcoming, sure, even though it looks like it's also getting pushed off. I've had this on the back burner for a minute, the fact that the Blade movie continues to fall apart, because right now, as best we know, it's potentially getting moved off of a 2025 release and pushed into 2026 in order to make room for, who knows? It's not even close to the principal photography because they aren't even done working on a script. So the fact that Beau is getting credit for something that's not even going to look like the end product, that's interesting. Yes, he had completed writing duties on season 2 of X-Men 97 and was lining up press and making plans to attend the show's Hollywood premiere today, March 13th. He was even discussing loose ideas for a third season with members of the team. Well, that's fantastic. But early last week, Marvel and DeMayo suddenly parted ways. His company email was deactivated and the cast and crew were informed that he was no longer on the project. DeMayo's Instagram, once a source for X-Men updates, was deleted. No reason for the firing was given. Yeah, for something like this to shock the day before, literally the day before this drops in the Hollywood Reporter, not exactly some scooper rag. No. This is like, press, okay? So they want, Disney and Marvel want this message out there. They don't want to hit it. They don't want it hidden. They want to publicly disassociate from Beau DeMayo. What's coming out? What's coming out by the time that season 1 wraps and it's the bust that everybody anticipates it's going to be? They want to give you hope for season 2 by throwing this guy under the bus. I will guarantee that. Marvel had no comment. DeMayo's representatives did not return calls for comment, and emails to the showrunner yielded no response. In a surprising turn of events on the eve of the show's March 20th streaming debut, so the public will be able to see it then, so a week early. And the critics are going to see that in order to tell you how great and inclusive, diverse the cast is, and it's like, yeah, we know, it's the X-Men. The X-Men is just naturally diverse, and everybody loves the characters, but when you start to keep your own ideological 21st century worldview on top of it, that's when people start to go, yeah, okay, the whole diversity push is a bit much. It was a surprising turn of events, yes, on the show's eve. However, it's unusual for a top creative on a Marvel project to miss a premiere or cancel press plans at the last minute, even if they've been shuffled to the side. Most Marvel premieres feature multiple screenwriters walking the red carpet, some of whom had been rewritten by other writers also walking the carpet, which Oddly enough, the last time that they had a director or a showrunner of color was the Marvels that they decided to put first and foremost. And how much press did Nia DaCosta do? Outside of calling critics of the movie, racist, sexist, homophobes, and all that type of stuff. Was she down there on the red carpet? Interesting. Marvel announced DeMayo's hiring in November of 2021. The move was met with some level of excitement as the scribe brought his identity as a gay black man to the project. What does that have to do with anything? I despise creatives like this. Okay, it needs to be all about me, the story that I tell, the fact that this is so important to me. It's always nice to have a fan of the project, but to simply be a fan of the project based on your own characteristics, yeah, I'm good. Nobody wants to see that. That has never produced good results. Yeah, and made the point in talking to the press about how growing up as an adopted son of white parents with a Korean sister in the South made his X-Men characters and their struggles for acceptance by society. Yeah, you're a black guy in the South. Yeah, okay, cool. Not exactly, a foreigner in a distant land. Feels personal to him. His silence on social media has been acute as he is a prolific poster, sharing X-Men tidbits as well as shirtless pictures of himself at the gym. What the hell are we doing right here, okay? For a time, he ran a non-explicit OnlyFans. Yo, what? That's, normally that's grounds for dismissal. Like, if he was working in the Fed, WWE, okay? If you had an account like that and you're not John Cena, you'd get turfed. But I guess Disney was totally fine because, he brought his identity as a gay black man, and apparently it's just simply intrinsic to be overtly sexual online. Very strange. All of which inspired the publication out to declare him as sexy gay Marvel writer and showrunner to know. This is the only reason Disney casts the directors and showrunners like this, is so they can get wider acceptance from fringe groups that are never going to pay to access the content that they're creating for them. It's a very defeatist attitude, but one that they're more than willing to perpetuate. But at times, social media had proven a challenge while making the series. In May of 2023, DeMayo announced that he would be deleting his Twitter account. Yes, it's too toxic over here. Elon Musk bought the platform, and I don't feel safe online. After he was attacked by users accusing X-Men 97 of whitewashing the character Sunspot by casting a Brazilian actor, Gui Agostini, in the role. Yeah, I don't really care about that. It's a cartoon. They're voice actors. The only people who care about that is out of work Indian dudes who want to go ahead and try to cancel a beloved Simpsons character. X-Men 97 continues the story of X-Men the Animated Series, which ran from 92 to 97. It was great. It still is great, has a banger soundtrack, arguably created more X-Men fans than the comics ever did. No, that's a bold claim, but hey man, it was the biggest cartoon running at the time. Everybody watched that, has at least seen a few episodes of it. I was a religious viewer of it, so I had a slight bit of anticipation that this could be good, but the moment that the showrunner started to make it all about his own struggle, I really started to not care about this at all whatsoever. And then also taking a look at the modern day recent output of Marvel, it's like, I have no faith in this at all whatsoever. And then seeing the trailer going, it's fine. Not exactly something after the deluge of garbage that has been fed to you out of the Marvel sludge pipe over the past half decade or so. Not exactly inspiring stuff. DeMayo was among the kids who grew up watching the show, said the showrunner in June of 2022. Anyone who feels different, we all have a Magneto inside. Pause. What? Yo. And we all have a Charles Xavier. We have a part of us that wants to burn it all down. Well, that's not really what Magneto. Oh, okay, whatever. It's almost like you were watching it, but you weren't paying attention. And a part of us wants to build it up. And the comics really helped me understand my identity. This is this whole push for revisionist history that, the X-Men has always been a big allegory for gayness. And it's like, no, it hasn't, okay? If you go and listen to the creator, a guy you might have heard of by the name of Stan Lee, the entire impetus for the creation of the X-Men is, just make them mutants because I'm tired of writing backstories for a bunch of characters. I have a bunch of great ideas, but I don't want to have to fill in the gaps. And then it was only just this terrible decision to make Magneto a survivor of the Holocaust later in the run. Everybody hops on the bandwagon of, but hey man, we'll see what happens when it ultimately does come out, and Beau DeMayo will actually get probably accurate criticism for his terrible script writing, his awkward plots, and the ruination of characters because he's no longer associated with and he's been distanced from the company. So this will be another interesting test, the same way that Echo was. Remember that came out earlier this year? there. It'll be interesting to see the way that this gets covered this time around, as opposed to everything else that Marvel has put out that they've already had their shields for. They had it for the Marvels with their female black director, they're all female cast. Okay, if you criticize that, you're a misogynist. If you criticize Echo, you're an ableist, but they couldn't really run with that too far, well, for very obvious reasons. Same thing with Black Panther, same thing with Captain Marvel, Black Widow. Just run down the list. There's all those excuses. It's either the people in front of or behind the camera. They have a shield for that one. But if X-Men fails, well, the only people that you're going to be able to blame is Disney, who employed this guy. But Disney's going to find every way possible. Marvel's going to attempt everything that they can in order to shift the blame off to the fired black guy. But hey, man, over the past few years, whenever you criticize somebody like that, okay, whenever you take action against somebody who has immutable characteristics that check with the requisite boxes, I thought that it would be licensed to call them racists or homophobic. So by firing Beau DeMayo right now, can we go ahead and run that back on Disney? Boy, because that would sure as hell be satisfying. That'll be about the only thing that we can say is satisfying in regards to this X-Men 97 reboot. Yuck. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.